All right, we're going to continue now in Matnul Izzi in Sarf, and we want to continue uh, following the book. Last week we were doing a review. We didn't read from the book last week. Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, so we want to continue in the book now. We didn't continue in the book last week. We just did a review. But we need to finish the book, so we need to continue. Now, the next thing, we're still talking about al-ajwaf, the hollow verb, the verb in which the middle root letter is an unstable letter. I think that's clear for you, inshallah. And the point where we are now is how to form the command verb, how to form the command verb with the out of a hollow verb. But to know how to form the command verb from the hollow verb, then you need to know how to structure such a verb if it is majzoom. I'm saying all these words. Hollow verb and majzoom and unstable letter, the middle root letters, the unstable letter, etc. All these words, they should be clear for you if you have been studying and following, insha'Allah ta'ala. In order to clarify how to make the command verb out of such hollow verbs, we need to know how to structure the verb if it is majzoom. So let's back up a little bit and see. In the first place, we have sauna. That's past tense verb. Right? Sauna. Sauna. Now I'm going to go through them. It's a good practice for you if you're going to go through it while I go through it. So you should know what's coming. Sauna. Sauna. Saunu. Sonnet. Sonata. Sunna. Okay. Let's see the mudari' before we go further. Sana. What's the mudari'? Yasunu. Sana. Yasunan. Sanu. Yasunun. Sonat. Tasunu. Sonata. Tasunani. Sonata. Tasunani. Sunna. Yasunna. Okay. I think that's all clear so far. So, what happened here? Originally, there's a wow. The wow turns into an alif in the past tense form. Yani, the origin of sana is sawana, and then the wow flips into an alif. So it becomes sana. In the mudari', you say yasunu, so the wow comes back. Sana is your alif, yasunan, there's your wow. Sanu, there's your alif, yasunun, there's your wow. That's what makes it a hollow verb, the unstable middle letter. Sonat tasunu. Sonata tasunan. Here, sunnah. Where is the unstable letter? In the Malbi. And yasunnu. And also in the Mudari'. What happened to that unstable middle letter? Let's take a quick look. So, originally it is Sod, Wow, Noon, but then the wow turns into an alif. The wow becomes an alif. So sana. But then we want to add the noon for the women. Noonu niswa, the women's noon. This noon the women's noon forces us to put a sukoon on this noon in front of it. But there's an alif in front of there. There's sukoon on that alif in front of that noon. That would make us have two sukoons in a row. And whenever you have two sukoons in a row, you get rid of the first one. So we're going to drop the alif here. And we're going to bring a dhamma also as an evidence that the alif was a wow. And now we omitted all of that. The alif, which was really a wow, is erased. So we put a dhamma on the sad as evidence for the original dhamma that was there. And now we can merge all these letters that remain, and the result becomes sad, noon, noon of shadda, sunnah. So that's how this one has, you don't see any defective or unstable letter in the middle. What about the mudari form? Yasunu. So originally it was yasun, yasunu. And then we brought the women's noon. Now, the women's noon makes the letter in front of it have a sukoon. But the letter in front of that noon already has a sukoon. And you can't have two sukoons in a row. So you drop the first one. And as for these two noons here, we're going to merge them together. So then the result is going to be yasun. Any question here? Okay. So everything's clear. I think everything's clear for everyone here so far. Okay. Let's look more. So all of that was the ghaib, which they call third person. Okay, let's look more. Sunta, suntuma, suntum, sunti, suntuma, suntunna. Inshallah, you're doing it with me because you're practicing your sarf and you're knowing which ones come next, inshallah. All right. Now we see here, this is all mukhatab, as they call second person. Mukhatab, yani second person, as they say. And this is past tense. Sunta, sana means to protect. Sana, he protected. Sana, those two protected. Sanu, those three or more protected something. Sunta, that's where we are here. You protected. Suntuma, you two protected something. Suntum, you three, masculine. Three or more, masculine, protected something. Sunti, you, female, single, female, protected something. Suntuma, you two, females, protected something. Suntunna, you three or more, feminine, protected something. Okay, past tense, protected ed. Mudari is how, mudari is tasunu, anta. Tasunani. Tasununa. Inshallah, you're following along. You know what's coming before I say it, because you're getting the hang of this. Tasunina. Tasunani. Tasunna. Okay. So tasunu, you protect in the present, or shall protect in the future something. Tasunani, you two, masculine, protect something. Tasununa, you three, masculine, protect something. Tasunina, you, female, single female, protect something. Tasunani, you two females, protect something. Tasunna, you three or more females, protect something. Okay, that's mudari' form. You notice in the past tense form, the unstable letter doesn't show up in any of it. What happened there? Let's take a look. So it was sauna. Sauna, which really was, before that, sawana. Then the wow turned into an alif. Then we wanted to add the ta, which is the pronoun, for to mean you, masculine, singular. But this pronoun, what? It makes the letter in front of it have to have a sukoon. But the letter in front of that already has a sukoon. So then we need to drop the first one that has sukoon. But we're going to put a dhamma on the sod as evidence that the original letter that got erased is really a wow that turned into an alif. So we put a dhamma on the sod to prove that what we erased in origin was a wow. Now we can put all these together and then it spells sunta. Sunta. And the unstable letter is removed. And that's what happened to every single one of these cases. Sunta, suntuma, sumtum, suntum, sunti, suntuma, suntunna. So I don't need to repeat myself here. Okay. Now, inshallah, that's clear. Any question here? Okay. That's all clear, inshallah ta'ala. Now, we want to see what happens to the mudari' verb. We're finished with the madi past tense verb. Now we're going to focus on the mudari'. Oh, wait, I still just need to add for you, though. Al-mutakallim. Suntu. And sunnah. And this is for the mutakallim, which they call first person. Suntu ana, I protected something. Sunnah, we protected something. Okay, and then the mudari' would be asunu, I protect something. And nasunu, we protect something. Okay. Now we are done with the madi. And we are almost done with the mudari'. We need to look at something pertaining to the mudari' form of this hollow verb, which is when it becomes majzoom. Majzoom. Majzoom, inshallah, you remember what majzoom means. That's the position that the sentence is playing in the sentence, that the verb is playing in the sentence. Take, for example, if the particle lem came upon the verb. You know the particle lem from Surah Al-Ikhlas. You say, lam yalid walam yulad walam yakun, etc. till the end of the ayah. What happened here? Lem puts the verb into a state of jazm and therefore has sukoon as a sign of jazm. Lam yalid walam yulad walam yakun Okay, so now you know how lem works with these verbs, gonna make it have a sukoon. I'm talking only in simple words here. So let's take yasun, yasunu, and put lem in front of it. Had we said lem, and then we took yasunu, it would come out as lem yasun. Just like here, lam yakun, walam yakun, lam yasun. So what happened? The wow is gone. Where's the wow? Why is the wow gone? The wow is gone because lam, yani, originally the verb would be yasun with that wow there. This wow, it has sukoon. Okay, the noon would have a dhamma on it. But when lem comes, lem uses its powers of jazm. Here's lem using its powers of jazm. Affecting this verb here. And therefore it's making this verb get a sukoon on the end. Lem makes it get a sukoon on the end. Just like lam yalid, walam yulad, walam yakun. So there's sukoon now because of lam. Then what happened as a result? Then we wound up with two sukoons in a row. And you can't have two sukoons in a row. So then you're going to remove the first one. So then it becomes like we have here. Lam yasun. Sukoon on the noon. Lam yasun. Like lam yakun. Okay, I think that's clear. If you have a question, feel free, please. Now, what about the rest of these mudariya verbs? When lam or any other jazm comes upon them, let's see. Then we're going to say, and this only happens to a mudariya verb, lam doesn't come on a maldi. So then we would say, lam yasun. No, actually, it's in the book here. I don't have to rewrite it. It says right here. Taqul. You say, lam yasun, lam yasuna. The wow came back. Lam yasunu. The wow came back. Lam tasun. No wow. Lam tasuna. Lam yasunna. The wow's gone. Lam tasun. Lam tasuna. Lam tasunu. Lam tasuni. Lam tasuna. Lam tasunna. No wow. Lam asun, lam nasun, no wow in all those cases. So let's take a look. What happened? Why is the wow gone sometimes, but it's there other times? Let's see. So if you put lem, if you put lem in front of tasun, what's going to happen? The noon's going to get a sukoon because of lem. But the wow in front of it already has sukoon. So we're going to drop that wow and just say lem tasun. So there's no wow. Okay. What about the next one? Lam. If you say lam tasu na, lam tasuna. Why did the wow stay? Because it was at first it was tasunani, like you say here, like you see here. Tasunani, lam tasu na. There was a noon here. Lam tasunani. But lem came, and lem made this whole noon fall off. Just like it gives another verb a sukoon. Sometimes lem will make you drop the noon. Sometimes lem will make the verb end with a sukoon. Sometimes if the verb is ending with a noon, then lem will make the noon drop. Like here. Lem tasuna. The noon is gone and it didn't have any way to affect the wow. There wasn't any reason for us to drop the wow here, so we kept it. Same thing, lem tasunu. If you put lem in front of It was tasunun, but you can't keep that noon and use wow at the same time. So then the noon gets dropped. Yeah, we're going to bring alif al-fariqah. And then you say lam tasunu, and there wasn't any reason for us to drop this unstable letter. So we kept it. So that's how it goes for tasunani, tasununa, tasunina. So you say lam tasun, lam tasuna, lam tasunu, lam tasuni. Let's take a look at this one. Tasunina. Here's the verb tasunina. And to remind you, this ya here is the pronoun. That means anti. This is for one single female. Anti tasumin. Hal anti tasumin? Oh, that's a noon, sorry. Hal anti tasunin? Tasunina. Dinaki? Do you, oh, you, one single female, do you protect your religion? Okay. Tasunin. So if lem comes in front of tasunin, then it's going to get rid of the it's going to get rid of the noon, and that's it. And there wasn't anything that made us do anything to the wow over here. That wow's safe, safe and secure from anything getting it erased. And then, since the last letter now is a yeah, we would write it like this: lam tasuni. And that's what happened with these. Lam tasunani, lam tasununa, lam tasu, or lam tasuna, lam tasunu, lam tasuni, lam tasuna. And then tasunna. Why the vowel's gone from that one? Because it was originally tasun, and then we added the noon for the women. The noon for the women demands of us that we give a sukoon to the letter before that noon. But there's already a sukoon in front of that one. So we were going to wind up with two sukoons in a row. So then we must erase the first one. Now we have two noons. So we're just going to merge them and put a shadda. So it becomes, yani, we don't have to write two noons, we can just write one noon. With a shadda though. Lam tasunna. And then here, lam asun, lam nasun. Okay. Any question here, please? All right. Now, alhamdulillah, now we reached where we want to finish what's in the metin, in the text. So the author wants to tell us how to make the command verb for this hollow verb that has a defective or an unstable middle letter. And it's very easy because all you do is take, what's this called? Here, all this here. Lam tasun, lam tasuna, lam tasunu. This is called al-mudari'. That's the present future verb. Al-majzum, the one that's in the state of jazm. Al-mudari' al-majzum. You're going to take al-mudari' al-majzum. You're going to use al-mudari' al-majzum to form the command verb. So let me do it first with you and then we'll read. So here's the first of all al-mudari' al-majzum. I'm going to say lam tasun anta, lam tasuna antuma, lam tasuni anti, lam tasuna. Lam tasun. Okay, should be five things here, right? One, two, three, four, five. Okay. So how do you make the command from these? All you have to do is remove the mudari letter in this case. In this case, you're going to just remove the mudari letter. So you're going to say to command someone, sun, protect something. Suna, you too, protect. Suni, you, female, you, woman, protect. Suna, sun. Okay, that's the command. So this is where we are here, where the author says, وَقِسْ عَلَيْهِ الْأَمْرِ. Compare the command verb to the mudari' majzoom. Nahu, such as sun, suna, sunu, suni, suna, sunna. Now I just explained all of that for you. Why I went through all of that? Because of when the author said right here, qis. That means compare. Compare the command verb to the mudari' majzoom according to the proper rules. And then you'll know how to formulate this kind of verb properly. Okay, that seems simple to me, straightforward. Only thing at this point that sticks out to me is sunnah. But really, we already explained it. I'll explain it again, though. So here's a command. Sunnah, protect something, you, three or more females. The origin of it is tasunu. The origin of it is tasunu, and we want to add the noon. And we want to add the noon for the women. So if we add the noon for the women, what's that noon going to do? I think you already know. It's going to make sure that the letter in front of it has sukoon. But in this case, the letter in front of the noon already has sukoon too. And you cannot have two sukoons in a row. And therefore, you must erase the first one. So it would become tasunna. And since we don't want a mudari' verb here, we want a command, then we need to remove the mudari' letter so that it's not a mudari' verb anymore, which is this ta. So it just becomes sunna. So that's the command form for three or more females for the verb sauna. If it's a more familiar word to you like qala, qala, he said. Yaqulu, he says. Lam yaqul, he did not say. Lam yaqula, lam yaqulu, lam yaqula. لم يقولي لم يقولا لم يقلن. But then we remove the mudari letter if we don't want a mudari verb, and then you just say قلنا. They, here I'll write it, قلنا. They, those three or more females said, sunna, قلنا. So that's so easy. What did he say in the text here? وقس عليه, يعني compare to the mudari' majzoom, the command, al-amr. Nahu, such as sun, suna, sunu, suni, suna, sunna. And I just explained all of that for you now. Any question here? Okay. So, next week, if Allah enables us, We'll start talking about connecting nunu tawkid to these verbs. And we skipped nunu tawkid, some of the details of nunu tawkid earlier in the book. So I don't want to skip it here though, but let's stop here and not start nunu tawkid now. We're going to start nunu tawkid next week by God's permission from the top of the lesson without, unless Allah willed, without a review. Just we're going to start. So review what you have taken already. Do you have any question? سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك